This man is an assassin. He has a 100% mission success rate. The world's most perfect assassin, Killer Jin. But he has one fatal weakness. That is a face so ugly it's one for the history books. For the peace of the world. An assassin organization. The greatest secret operating in the shadows. Beneath the light of the universe and earth, they are the Red Shield. Red Shield. The name signifies a crimson buckler. This organization specializes in adopting orphans. Full of talent from all over the world, these children undergo brutal training from a young age, forged to become the most elite assassins. Under strict guidance, the children gradually grow up, becoming warriors of the shadows, ready to dive into any mission to maintain balance and peace for the world. They are trained to become peerless killers, unrivaled. But among them, there is one who stands out far above the rest. Under the heavy rain, a giant cargo ship quietly drifts on the sea. Night on the deck, a group of armed men with guns stands guard. Amidst the rain, a figure shoots up from the water. His body is like a perfectly forged machine, displaying undisguised power, every muscle taut. A pirate, seeing the silhouette rise from the water, thinks for a moment it's a dolphin. But the moment he turns his back to leave, the figure rises from behind, making his eyes go wide with terror. Then his neck is snapped silently. Inside the ship's hold, the other pirates panic and fire continuously. Gunshots echo everywhere. At that moment, an assassin moves lightning fast. A sharp blade swings up, slashing through each person. In the engine room, a pirate trembles holding a gun, cold sweat running down his forehead, eyes full of panic. Suddenly, a massive explosion rings out. Red flames erupt, swallowing the room. The pirate is startled and terrified, hurriedly firing wildly. Gunshots thunder throughout the ship. Wretched screams echo in the chaos. But the white mask falls off. At the same time, the assassin throws punches, giving the pirate no time to react. He is not only skilled with weapons, but also unbeatable in CQC, skills far surpassing any opponent. That man possesses every combat skill, a perfect assassin. He is Killer Jin. Before the stunned eyes of the people just rescued, main character calmly asks, "Is everyone okay?" The crew members are still trembling, but in their eyes, gratitude shines mixed with relief. A crew member regaining his senses smiles awkwardly and says, "I'm fine, thank you, sir." However, even Killer Jin, perfect in combat, still lacks one thing. When he reaches out his hand, cold blue light reflects on his face, making the people in front of him instantly freeze. Faces twisted with fear, they back away screaming, "Oh my God!" and call him a monster. Fear surges, making them lose their composure. They scramble to flee, even jumping straight into the sea in panic, just hoping to escape the murderous aura filling the space. That's right, the only thing he can never have is a face. Killer Jin stands silently in the empty room. He is very ugly. Scene shifts to Rothschild Branch No. 1 in Germany. Amidst the peaceful setting of an ancient church, a hooded figure appears, hiding his appearance. He mutters, "Messed it up again. If I don't want to get scolded, I have to fix it later." But in the quiet space of the church, the door opens. He appears and looks inside. What is he thinking? Among the rows of seats, someone is crying. That is Robert, known as the Smile of Death. Even when crying, he still looks handsome. Just then, a hand is placed on the main character's shoulder. A woman with silver hair wearing a hat appears. She is Kamihi, leader of Branch No. 1 of the organization, Rothschild in Germany. She speaks coldly. "Jin." The main character immediately bows respectfully. "Yes, leader." Kamihi hands him a passport and plane ticket, ordering, "Your next mission is in Korea. Objective: dispose of the traitor." Jin takes them, eyes gleaming coldly. Looking at the attached photo, he whispers, "This person is Takahashi Branch No. 3, huh?" And Kamihi adds, "Bavo Hetama, and next was Wang San." He took down all three. Jin pauses, surprised. "All three?" Kamihi continues solemnly. "That's right. Takahashi is the hidden star of Rothschild. Never let your guard down, Jin." Scene shifts to a blue sky. Plane soars through the air. In the luxury cabin, Jin sits quietly, covering his face with a mask and dark glasses. Tears roll down his cheeks, but he chuckles aloud, an inscrutable laugh. The four handsome assassins of Rothschild: Bavo, Hetama, Wang San, and Robert. They are famous not for their combat skills, but for their handsome faces and flashiness. They show off, take photos for the internet, purposely miss targets to make jokes, obsessed with themselves more than assassin work. However, Jin recalls, while he rolls around on bloody battlefields, panting heavily amidst corpses and the smell of gunpowder, they leisurely raise wine glasses, toasting at lavish parties. The contrast makes his heart surge with anger. Those guys live like idols, while he exists as a killing machine. And now the mission forces him to face the most dangerous among them, Takahashi. Sitting on the plane, Jin growls, "Those bastards always get the easy jobs. Luxury clothes, easy missions, while I have to crawl through bloody hell. If they stopped grooming their hair and actually trained, they'd have some real skills." The creepy laugh alarms the flight attendant. She hurries to call, "Captain, I think there's a mentally unstable passenger here. What should we do? The plane lands in Korea. Stepping out of the international airport, Jin pauses, looks around, and whispers, first time setting foot in the homeland. This is Korea. He pulls his suitcase, looking up to take a deep breath. But before he can enjoy it, an old lady angrily yells at him, Hey, don't block the way, move it, kid. With that, she bumps the main character forward. He rolls once and gets into a defensive stance. Jin strains his eyes, observing, thinking, what the hell is going on here? Outside the airport gate, a car carrying a famous star stops in front of the crowd. Cha Eun-woo, with purple hair and a handsome face, steps down as cheers erupt. Meanwhile, Jin stands still at a distance, face covered by a mask, eyes watching coldly. He pulls out a death note and writes the name inside. This guy is just a bonus, kiddo. The Seoul scenery appears vast and bustling. The main character hides his stuff, then walks with a bag on his shoulder. But when he stops in front of a bright billboard of a plastic surgery clinic, his eyes light up. Great, Korea is plastic surgery heaven. They say everything can be changed. In Jin's mind, the image of Cha Eun-woo with a perfect face flashes by. He involuntarily whispers, maybe I can too. But immediately Jin dismisses it, gritting his teeth. Forget it. In a deserted corridor, an old man passes by Jin, muttering, No, it's too late. Jin stares annoyed. What's this, not even an apology? Whatever, I'm in a good mood, since I finally got to return to my homeland. Back in his room, Jin assembles his gun. He looks at the plastic surgery flyer, whispering with desire, after finishing this mission, I'll be reborn. Ha ha ha. But sometime later, in the battle with Takahashi the traitor, Jin collapses on the blood-stained ground, body covered in injuries. In front of him, Takahashi, the traitor from branch number 3, stands panting, holding a gun, eyes burning. He speaks in a mix of Korean and Japanese. You don't know the truth. Rothschild isn't the righteous force you think. They don't protect the world at all. The main character, although lying, flat on the ground, still silently curses, Speak one language, you bastard. Jin is dying. He coldly utters, traitor. Takahashi continues, no need to say more. Sayonara. A gunshot rings out, a muzzle flash tearing through the night. But at that very moment, the bullet fired came from Jin's gun. A bullet piercing Takahashi's heart. Takahashi, hit unexpectedly, replies. That gun was clearly disabled. Jin strains his body, trembling hand still gripping the gun. He rasps, I won't die alone. And then both fall onto the cold concrete. Blood spreads red under the heavy rain. Last breaths echo amidst the pouring rain. Jin mutters, is there really an afterlife? If so, I want to come back with a handsome face. But in the sound of pouring rain, Jin's body goes still, eyes slowly closing. That tragic ending etches a final wish deep inside. But then eyes flutter open. His whole body is wrapped in bandages. Trembling, he lets out a sob. But in the dimly lit room, a figure appears at the door. It's the old man Jin encountered before. Jin screams in terror, Old man, what are you doing? The old man steps closer, looking down at him, saying, Looks like it'll be hard for you to use your limbs from now on. The main character responds in extreme panic. What the hell are you saying? Then he tries to move each limb, but completely fails. Panic makes him scream, Help, murder! The old man just stands watching calmly, as if he foresaw this fate. Jin rages, If you were gonna do this, why let me live? Limbs were the only thing working, and now... Then suddenly the old man steps forward and reaches out, removing the bandages around his face. Blinding light reflects off a completely different new face. Scene shifts to a long time ago. Killer Jin's past. Church bells ring in a classroom. Students sit upright. A nun enters bringing a new boy. She introduces, This is Jin. He will study with you from now on. Please treat each other kindly. A blond boy raises his hand, Sister. Then he points at Jin, eyes full of contempt. I think that's impossible, because that thing isn't a human, it's a monster. The class stirs. The nun speaks sternly, Monster, what are you saying? Humans must live in harmony, right? The kids burst into giggles, mocking Jin. Jin's face lowers, shaking with anger. But right after, he rushes straight at the kid who insulted him. With speed so fast no one can stop him, Jin tackles the boy to the ground. A loud thud echoes. The other kid screams in pain. The class panics. Students rush in to intervene, and the nun hurriedly runs over. The atmosphere in this classroom instantly becomes chaotic, opening Jin's stormy first days at the new school. In the following days, little Jin is constantly bullied. At night, when the whole dorm is asleep, Jin lies quietly in bed. But suddenly some kids pull his blanket, smiling maliciously. They tie Jin up in the blanket, then beat him with sticks. Jin is pinned down, unable to fight back, hearing only the whoosh of canes and wood hitting his body. Unable to bear it, Jin sneaks out and sits curled up on the roof. In loneliness, the boy trembles and gasps. Just then the nun appears. She climbs up and sits next to Jin. She says gently, I know everything. Jin starts exclaiming, Sister, how do you know? She just smiles slightly, eyes gentle under the moonlight. I know everything. Jin hesitantly asks, "Then why does God let me suffer?" "Born like this." The nun looks at the sky, eyes shining with faith. "Everything God does has a meaning." Jin stares, heart full of questions. She gently comforts again. "Maybe he will compensate you for this suffering." The nun laughs. "For example, when you reach adulthood, you'll become handsome, for instance." Jin's eyes widen, heart pounding. "Is that true, really?" The nun assures, "Of course, believe me." Many years later, Jin stands in front of a mirror. A muscular physique. A masculine face reflects clearly. The boy once called a monster has now turned into a strong young man, entering age 17 with confidence, but still hideous enough to scare ghosts away. He screams in despair, "Liar! I won't believe in God anymore." In anger, Jin curses everything, abandoning his faith. However, waking up after a severe injury, he looks in the mirror and sees his eyes look different, and a handsome face. Then he turns to the old man and says, "I believe now, oh miracle doctor." The man speaks sternly, "I fixed your face to look exactly like my son, because my son died and you look a lot like him." He freezes, stunned. Voice trembling, he chokes out, "Thank you so much. How can I repay this favor?" The old man looks down, voice low, "Just now you were loudly asking why I saved you. Now that your face has changed, did your heart change too?" He panics, shaking his head, trying to explain. No, it's not like that." But the man cuts him off, cold voice ringing out, "No need to deny. I didn't treat you for your sake." He is surprised, eyes wide with confusion. "What did you say?" The main character opens his eyes, looking at the photo given by the old man. In the photo is a young man, with a face identical to his, standing next to an old man. He gasps in shock, "Huh?" The old man's eyes are sharp. "Correct, I altered your face to look exactly like my son." The main character trembles, asking why. The old man lowers his voice, sadly, eyes darkening. "Because my son died. So from now on you will be my son." The main character freezes, heart racing, but then his lips curl into a radiant smile, eyes shining with a strange light. He blurts out, "Yes, father," his face full of joy, as if he finally gained an identity he never dared dream of. The old man stands by the bed, seemingly not expecting Jin's reaction. The room falls silent. The old man leaves, leaving the main character on the bed, still stunned. He sighs softly, thoughts echoing in his mind. Isn't that exactly what he wanted? Right then, school uniform is placed on Jin. The main character's eyes widen in surprise. This is a school uniform." The old man returns, voice decisive. "You will go to school as my son." "Jang Se-jin." The main character is dumbfounded, "School?" But before he can compose himself, the old man yells, "You must find the person who killed my son. Se-jin, my son was murdered, but I hid his death because I can't let him go. Unjustly like that. I reported that he's taking a break from school to hide the truth. My son aside from school, and this house had nowhere else to go. The killer is definitely connected to the school. If you appear there with this face, that bastard will think you are Se-jin. He will definitely come to kill you one more time. At that moment, kill him and avenge Se-jin." The old man's eyes flash with cruelty. He shouts like a command, "Don't ever think about running away. If you dare to run, I will expose your true identity, so you rot in prison for the rest of your life. But if you succeed in revenge, I will let you live freely. Live with my son's face and identity. Play the role perfectly." The main character looks up, eyes flashing as if understanding the bind of fate. The old man turns to leave, advising, "Try to do rehab. Even though 90% of your body is ruined, just being able to stand up would be a miracle." The night sky spreads wide. Stars twinkle as if watching his new fate. The main character lies in bed, eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling, mind in turmoil. But memories of bloody battles flood back. Images of him silently assassinating an enemy, even if it was a child. A cold voice once echoed, "Good job, Jin." That was praise, but also chains, binding him to the assassin's path. The next morning, a bustling city scene appears. Jin, in a hooded jacket, face covered by a mask, steps out of the old house, watching students in uniforms smiling, chatting happily. Sunlight shines on the peaceful scene. In that crowd, a figure quietly hides, behind a hood and a mask, eyes watching, seemingly yearning for such a normal life. But currently, the main character lies on the sickbed. Heavy thoughts ring in his head. "Jang Se-jin, you lived a life completely opposite to mine. Anyway, I always dreamed of going to school, and now that dream finally comes true." Scene shifts to the next day. The old man supports him, helping the main character recover his health. Days pass by. After much effort from both, the main character finally recovers, able to stand and walk normally. Scene shifts to a magnificent building, Rothschild headquarters in Germany. Inside an ancient church, a tense meeting takes place. Powerful figures sit around a long table. Nixon, leader of branch number 2, speaks angrily. What kind of management is this leader of branch number 1? Sending only one assassin to catch a traitor who killed 3 people. And now he's missing 2. Another member speaks up firmly. He's not just a normal assassin. At the same time, in her cold eyes, a low voice echoes through the room. He is Jin, the perfect killer. Red-haired Nixon slams the table, snarling, "So. And the mission to eliminate the traitor counts as a success. But I heard his body wasn't even found." The atmosphere explodes into fiery argument. She adds, "We will take responsibility for the search." Red-haired Nixon laughs contemptuously. "Ha! No way. 3 of our assassins died suspiciously. I don't trust you people either. It's better if the search team comes from our side." Just then, Olo, the central leader of Rothschild, speaks up. "All 3 fathers are here. Stop arguing right now." Figures in gold masks sit behind him. His silence radiates an aura that makes everyone wary. He adds, "I will consider the severity of the issue and find a more suitable team to handle this. What do you think?" A while later in his private room, he smiles slightly, placing his hands on a silver scale. "I always value the balance between branches, but ever since Jin appeared, that balance has started to tip little by little. If you find him, you know what you have to do, right? Hanzo." Scene shifts to the main character in a thick coat, wearing a red beanie, looking at himself in the mirror. The old man helped him walk outside, but he gently brushed that hand away. "From today I will walk on my own." But before leaving, he handed him a phone. "At least take this. I have saved my number in it." The main character nodded and took it, then strode out into the wide yard. His silhouette blended into the faint sunlight. The snowy road stretched out. He walked slowly, legs trembling, breathing heavily. In the middle of the snow-covered park, a group of elderly people were exercising, chanting rhythmically in the freezing air. The main character stood silently observing. Watching them, a strange feeling welled up in his heart. For the first time in years, he clearly felt the simple warmth of an ordinary life. He saw a person punch hard to the front, then swing their hands to the sky, ending the move with a loud shout. "This!" He stood stunned, muttering, Is this Korean martial arts?" Terrifying. The morning light shone through, leaving a faint rainbow across the deep blue sky. After that, he slumped onto a stone bench in the park, looking up, gasping for air. His whole body was exhausted. "Just a short walk is enough to drain my body. Those Rothschilds probably think I'm dead by now." Right. Scene shifts to a long time ago. In the middle of an arid desert, an overturned vehicle smokes heavily. Bloodied bodies lie scattered around. Weapons are strewn about. The main character, as a child in black clothes, moves through the barren. Desert face dirty, but eyes determined. A voice comes from the radio. "Jin Hyunji, where are you?" Followed by the sound of disconnection. He walked until dusk back to the shelter. Entering the bedroom, everything on the beds was ransacked by those so-called teammates. After that, he left, telling himself, "I will definitely never return to this place." In the following days, Jin wandered looking for work, but only received rejection. Sometimes beaten, sometimes shunned. Stomach growling with hunger, steps staggering, but Jin kept going. When he stole a few coins from a stranger, a faint ray of hope amidst the hard days. But just a moment later, the coins fell rolling on the floor. Jin bent down to pick them up when an angry shout rang out. A fat chef growled, "Where do you think you're going, you disgusting monster?" In the dark night, Jin dragged his feet back to the church gate, the place that once imprisoned his childhood. He stood there, silently looking inside, eyes filled with despair. The iron gate opened. She looked straight at Jin. Cold, but her eyes held something inscrutable. She handed Jin a dark mask. Her hand was gentle, but her voice was firm. "The only place for you is here, Jin." He took the mask, tears welling up and rolling down his cheeks. In the cold night, Jin felt like every exit had been blocked, forced to accept his fate. Scene shifts to the present. He thinks to himself, "Except for Master, no one cares if I live or die." That thought makes him involuntarily smile, then jump up and shout as if shedding a burden. "That's right. Please, nobody care about me anymore. Please don't notice me. But I won't go back to Rothschild. With this face, I'll live comfortably." Scene shifts to a normal neighborhood. He sits at a computer desk, intently typing to search for information. On the screen appears the question, "Is Sorum Arts High School good?" He reads the answer. It's no exaggeration to say that more than half of the singers, actors, and famous musicians today graduated from Seorum. If you dream of becoming an artist, this is the best school. He looks at the screen, eyes lighting up with hope, wondering, did the doctor's son attend Sorum, wanting to become a celebrity? That's right. I will take revenge for you and live your dream. Jang Sejin. Days pass. Outside, cherry blossoms bloom, signaling a new beginning. He stops in front of the school gate. Assassin Jin now with the name Jang Sejin. The main character smiles brightly, thinking, I can't wait. He looks up and thinks of the words and the mission the old man gave him. Then he runs while chuckling. As long as I get to go to school, I'm satisfied. Ha ha ha. In the crowded corridor, he appears with a confident demeanor, bag on his shoulder, striding proudly. Female students on both sides can't help but blush at his good looks. All eyes are directed at him. He feels his heart pounding, happily thinking, yes, this is exactly the feeling I've always longed for. The feeling of being liked by everyone, without even trying. He hugs himself in self-satisfaction, then stops in front of the classroom door. He puts his hand on the knob and tells himself, "Girls, I permit you to admire me." Kahahaha. He pushes the door open wide, stepping in with a flamboyant pose, striking a pose, his face full of arrogance and a smile. But contrary to expectations, inside it's a total sausage fest, and every single one of them looks like a thug, faces aggressive and fierce. He slams the door shut, sits down, and mutters, "No, this isn't right. How can this be?" On the way here, there were only girls. Why? Just then a hand extends in front of him. He looks up, seeing a male student with a bright face, smiling friendlily. "Why don't you come in? You're in the entertainment department too, right?" This person's name is Jo Bae-young. They shake hands, calling each other friend, and enter the class. But in his heart, a strange feeling wells up. For a long time, he has never had a friend. In flashing memories, people pointed at him screaming, "It's a monster." But this time he smiles, gripping his new friend's hand. "Ah, right, friends," he thinks to himself. "So when you have looks, everything is truly much easier." In class, Jo Bae-young introduces him to everyone. He's studying entertainment, too. "Handsome, right?" The group of students look over and greet him. He awkwardly replies, "Hello, everyone." Sitting down next to Bae-young, he hears his friend whisper, "Hey, are we going to be like this forever?" Bae-young is confused. "Huh, what do you mean?" He adds, "I mean the female student studying with us." Bae-young laughs, looking like he realized something. Right then, from the end of the hall, a brilliant figure appears, long hair flowing. A floral scent wafts in, astonishing him. Heart racing, he jumps up from his chair, eyes shining, exclaiming excitedly, "Oh, the floral scent is so sweet." But instead of a slender figure, in front of him is a tall man. Muscles bulging, long hair let down, face stern walking in. Silence descends. The main character freezes, neck stiff, trembling. That man's voice booms like thunder. "Now everyone to practice room 1. Leaving the class stunned, not yet understanding what is happening. Confused glances are exchanged. Someone whispers, "What's going on? Why so sudden?" The class shuffles to practice room 1. Everyone wonders what is going on. The long-haired teacher sits cross-legged on a chair, playing on his phone. Some students look at each other, whispering suspiciously. "He's playing games right in front of us." A boy shakes his head, whispering, "Teacher is weird." A student raises his hand. "Sir, what are we sitting here for?" "It's boring." The teacher replies indifferently. "Then each of you show what you're best at." The class is stunned. One kid asks blankly, "Huh? What?" The teacher continues, "Doing it normally is boring, so this time we'll do it differently. This is called steal the stage." He explains, "Each person will step up to perform their talent, but if someone else can do better, they will steal that stage." The class buzzes. A student widens his eyes, whispering, "He wants us to steal the stage of someone currently performing?" Sounds a bit much. The teacher turns coldly, pointing straight at the student who just complained. "Really? Then you go first." He coughs lightly to clear his throat, then starts singing. "Love is..." The shaky off-key voice makes the class burst into laughter. Someone teases, "Sounds like a goat bleeding, ha ha ha." Immediately after, another student jumps in, singing the next part. The atmosphere livens up. Several others immediately cut in, singing and acting emotionally. Another student nimbly stands up, spins and starts dancing. Powerful, sharp moves make the class stare. The main character sits watching, eyes shining, thinking, "Awesome, those dance moves are so cool." As soon as that group steps down, Jo Bae-young steps up and says, "Make way, make way, make way." Bae-young steps into the center, face confident, smile full of challenge. He looks up at everyone and says, "Let me show you guys what real dancing is." He presses his phone to play music. Deep driving bass rings out. The room is immersed in dim light. Blue hair screams in surprise, "That pose! Isn't that Michael Jackson's dance?" Smooth Criminal. The main character is still confused, muttering in his head, "Smooth Criminal, Michael Jackson is a criminal." Blue hair hears that and shouts, "Stop talking nonsense, shut up, he's about to start." The sound of shoes stomping hard on the floor echoes. Each beat intensifies the heat in the air. He spins, body moving fluidly with the music. Every move is neat and decisive. Sweat beads on his forehead, but the confident smile never disappears, dancing with captivating charisma. Hand pointing straight like a signal, eyes burning, the main character watches, unable to look away, exclaiming inwardly, "So cool, seriously so cool." Those skillful moves leave the whole class stunned. And then when he stops, standing straight in the center with pride, blue hair screams in terror, "That stance, is it the lean?" The main character asks blankly, "What is that?" Blue hair next to him explains, "That's Michael Jackson's legendary move, leaning the whole body forward while keeping it straight. Normally impossible to do, without support equipment." The main character just scratches his head, wondering, is it that hard? Because when he was an assassin, he dodged attacks in all kinds of poses. Then at that moment, Bae-young on the floor starts. Body slowly leaning down 20 degrees, then 30 degrees, bit by bit surpassing the limit. The class is dumbfounded. Blue Hair clutches his head. Unbelievable. Over 30 degrees already. The main character sits silently, eyes watching intently, thinking to himself, is it really impossible? It's just that what's the big deal? Baeyong just finishes the move. The audience applauds thunderously, cheering excitedly. Amazing. Baeyong face excited shouts challengingly. Come on, who's next? Suddenly, the main character thinks of the past. Knives whistling through the air. The blonde kid bullying the main character shouts while rushing in, but is immediately taken down coldly by the man in dark glasses. The knife falls to the ground. Blondie writhes in pain. He collapses in front of the group. She crosses her arms, sharp eyes, watching the scene without uttering a word. The atmosphere thickens heavy like a blade against the throat, accompanied by the mocking laughter of the children around. The defeated blonde screams in rage. Think you're better? If you're confident, step out here. The crowd immediately splits to two sides, eyes focused on the young main character. He steps out, holding a gleaming knife in each hand. The man in glasses signals readiness to young Jin. He starts. Right then, young Jin rushes past him, fast enough to be invisible to the naked eye. She only saw that the glasses guy's knife broke in half. She pats the main character's head, smiling proudly, a rare smile appearing on the cold face, like an acknowledgement. Scene shifts to the present. The main character thinks, I swore to live quietly with this face. At the same time, Baeyong slicks back his hair and says, no one will be able to surpass this. Before he finishes, a black figure swoops past, making Baeyong widen his eyes in surprise. The main character stands in front of him, raising a hand, shouting. He smiles challengingly, points his finger, use that track again, start. I definitely won't lose. The music starts. Jin's body instantly merges with the rhythm. Every move is powerful and sharp. The teacher sits with arms crossed, eyes watching intently expression, showing a flash of interest. Then he moves bit by bit, doing moves that look like martial arts practice. Blue Hair is dumbfounded seeing that. The students burst into laughter, ha ha ha, so funny. But the main character still smiles confidently, thinking to himself, laugh all you want, then you'll be silenced. Just die of shock at this performance. The teacher bored turns away without a word. The main character stops standing straight, overflowing with aura. Blue Hair laughs mockingly. Don't tell me you're planning more nonsense dancing. But he only smiles a fiery smile, eyes shining. That's right, now watch, start. He leans his body mimicking Michael Jackson's move, making the whole room hold its breath watching. Thud. The main character slips, slamming his head into the floor. The atmosphere suddenly goes silent, then shifts to looks of astonishment. A moment later, he clutches his face, screaming in despair. My face, my face. To the side, Jo Baeyong gives a thumbs up, smiling encouragingly. Good job, buddy. Keep your head up. See you later. Blue Hair turns to look, thinking, lucky I didn't do anything excessive. Suddenly, the teacher walks over, sharp eyes looking straight at him, calling, Jang Sejin, follow me to the staff room. The room is full of documents. Teacher and student sit opposite each other. The teacher opens sternly. First of all, I'm very glad you came back healthy after a long illness. But the main character just smiles faintly, thinking, he doesn't look happy at all, that old quack. But he hid the death of his son, then applied for sick leave to cover up the truth. The teacher continues, by age you should be in second year. But since you took long leave before finishing the first semester of first year, you have to start over from first year. The main character nods in agreement. The teacher adds but says nothing more. The atmosphere falls into silence. The teacher stands up and tells him he can go. Confused, he quietly leaves. The teacher thinks to himself in surprise, he chose dancing instead of singing. Outside, the main character is clearly suspicious. He tells himself the teacher definitely knows something about Sejin, and honestly, because the culprit is inside this school, that means teachers must also be considered suspects. While he is deep in thought, he suddenly hears someone exclaim in disgust, damn, it's horribly ugly. He starts in surprise, thinking they mean him. Talking about me. Impossible. Scene shifts to an empty rooftop, where two students in baseball uniforms are. One of them grips a ball tightly in hand, then throws it hard. Die, monster! The ball flies and hits a small cat. Poor thing. The cat lets out a piteous cry, then falls rolling onto the ground in pain and trembling. The two throwers burst into delighted laughter. One laughs hysterically. Look at it, satisfying, huh? Ha ha ha. The other brags arrogantly. Actually, I aimed for its head. He tilts his chin, preparing to throw the next pitch. Move so I can finish it. The other joins in, okay. In the corner, the small cat curls up, shaking in despair. The ball flies straight at the kitten. But right at that moment, it hits the main character's green backpack, startling the group. From behind, a cold voice rings out. Can you guys cut it out? Steady steps approach. They snarl, bastard, who are you? We are acting on behalf of heaven to kill a monster. Get out of the way. But the main character just stares at the cat, trembling on the ground. In his head echoes, killing a monster. The image of the past, the main character cornered in a bathroom. On the stall door scrawled, hateful words, disgusting monster go to hell. That child curled up sobbing, rejected by the whole world, just like the small cat trembling right now. Main character looks at the bullies with cold eyes, gently raising his hand and saying, you guys really need a beating. One of the baseball team yells back, you're brave, good acting too. He screams, rushing straight in to throw a punch. But in a blink of an eye, the main character throws a counterpunch, hitting right in the face, knocking him flat on the ground unconscious. His accomplice screams in panic, Minho! He clenches his fist. The old man's reminder rings in his head. Don't forget your body is much weaker now. Just one punch has dangerous recoil. While the main character is considering, the other guy grabs a baseball bat and rushes in screaming, bastard, I'll kill you. He swings the bat, but the main character dodges effortlessly. Then he kicks straight into his crotch, grabs his shirt, and slams the bat wielder hard into the ground. He raised his hand about to punch this guy in the face. But then the male lead reconsidered. What am I doing? Fighting with these punks. Just then a water balloon flew straight at the male lead's face. With his assassin skills, he dodged it effortlessly. The balloon smashed hard against the wall, bursting and falling to the ground, proving that throw was anything but normal. A large figure holding an iron pipe stepped forward. He slammed the pipe onto the ground as a warning, his face full of defiance. Opposite him, the male lead remained calm, his red eyes staring straight ahead, coldly demanding he take those guys and leave. The big guy just smirked and taunted him. Haha, are you the cat dad? But at the same time, two punks rushed in to grab the male lead's legs. Immediately, the big guy charged forward. But the male lead just observed, thinking, is this all they've got? Ridiculous. Then he instantly unleashed powerful punches and kicks, taking down the two punks. Without hesitating, he rushed forward with extreme speed. The big guy also charged, but they brushed past each other. The male lead turned around and saw the big guy was actually aiming for the injured cat lying on the ground. He swung his arm violently. A moment later, blood dripped onto the pavement. The male lead knelt, cradling the cat in his arms, blood streaming from his forehead down his cheek. The big guy stood looming over him, frowning. What the hell? He gripped the pipe, leaning in and gritting his teeth. You lunatic, do you really want to die? The male lead silently looked up. His glowing red eyes stared at the guy, radiating bloodlust. The big guy suddenly shuddered, sweat beading on his temples, then turned to leave. Hey, let's go, hurry up. The whole gang left, leaving behind the male lead, who staggered and collapsed. He remembered his father, blood still on his cheek. His father had wearily rubbed his head, whispering, Who called you a monster to me? You look really cute. The cat meowed. He stammered, Cute, huh? I mean, besides being ugly isn't a crime. Then he passed out. People on the street turned to look. Huh. Scene shifts to later at the hospital. The male lead lay on a stretcher. When he opened his eyes in the ER, he exhaled softly. Oh, this place. A large figure blocked the light, speaking calmly. Oh, you're awake? The chubby friend walked in carrying the cat, smiling brightly. Shortly after they stood in front of the hospital lobby, the male lead thanked the chubby guy and said, Thank you, I will definitely pay back the hospital fees. The chubby guy holding the cat waved his hand. It's okay. The male lead raised his fist, grinning. I always repay both kindness and grudges, that's my rule. The two stood entering numbers to add each other as friends, then said goodbye. The male lead looked at his phone and chuckled. Hey, saved my second contact. He looked up and asked, And what about you? The cat meowed, its eyes wide and round. The old man frowned, putting a hand to his forehead and sighing. This kid is incredibly stubborn. He pointed his finger, setting a condition. Only until that cat finds its real family, understand. The male lead hugged the cat tight, nodded slightly, corners of his lips curling up. Under the clear blue sky of the school campus, the male lead walked into the hall. He pulled out some photos of the cat, smiling as he looked at them. Its face looks a bit weird, huh? Nah, that makes it special and cute. Commotion drew his attention to the bulletin board. Students were crowding around. He looked up. Huh. He squeezed in closer. His eyes caught the words freshman placement results, but his heart skipped a beat. When was the placement test? A guy next to him replied nonchalantly, It was yesterday. The male lead froze. What? His eyes widened. Fragmented memories of yesterday flashed through his mind, overlapping like fleeting frames. The male lead pressed close to the board, heart-pounding, muttering, My name, where is my name? His finger slid down the list, his eyes almost popping out. The result was clear. He was placed in Class F. His mind went blank. He slumped down amidst the whispering crowd. A bitter thought flashed through his mind. An SS class assassin in the real world? It becomes Class F trash in school? A hand reached out. Are you okay? He looked up and recognized the chubby friend from the hospital. Ah, it's you. You study here too. You're also a freshman, right? So your name is up here too? Which class are you in? The chubby guy stammered, well, As he finished speaking, the male lead checked the board and saw the chubby guy's name in his class. What, you're in class F2? What did you do to end up in class F? The chubby guy just laughed awkwardly and scratched his head. Suddenly a cursing voice rang out. Bastards! The male lead looked bewildered. Huh. Bae Yongjin wrapped his arm around the male lead's shoulder, smiling warmly. Good morning. Which class are you in? Surely not F, right? The male lead scratched his head, stammering. Oh, well. Bae Yongjin's eyes went round. What class F? Even though you fell yesterday, you were still awesome. The male lead forced a smile. Oh, is that so? Bae Yongjin with bright hair winked. Of course. The flashy smile briefly faded when he glanced at the male lead's chubby friend. Then Bae Yongjin said goodbye as he walked away. I'm heading to class first. See you later. The male lead waved back. Yeah, see ya. As Bae Yongjin walked away, he gave an indecipherable look. Walking down the hallway, the male lead suddenly stopped as a memory flashed by. A hand placed on his shoulder, a face smiling radiantly. Leaning close, a whisper echoing. You are the best. The fog of memory cleared. He stood still for a moment. The chubby friend looked back. Seijin. He stood still, replying briefly. I'm going to the restroom. Water gushed in the sink. The male lead stared into the mirror, gripping the stone edge. Damn it, with this face. Even if I crapped my pants, shouldn't I at least get an A? He stopped in front of the Class F door, inhaling and exhaling a long breath. Ha! His eyes looked at the sign coldly. Dark whispers appeared in his mind. Crossing this threshold means becoming true bottom of the barrel. Suddenly, a woman's voice rang out. Excuse me. If you're not going in, can you step aside? The male lead opened his eyes wide, meeting the cold green gaze of a beautiful woman. Darkness swallowed the male lead's vision. He shrank into the black void, his red pupils half closed. Lights flashed, dragging along distorted faces, and screams crashing into his ears. Disgusting, don't talk to me, you filthy monster. A sharp slap swept across, making him stumble. A woman pulled a weapon, pointing it straight at him. The male lead thought to himself, I was only buying snacks. But the words kept striking him. Don't open your mouth. Just looking at you makes me vomit. Get lost. He held his head breaking apart inside. I didn't do anything. I didn't say anything. I didn't do anything at all. A small call from the woman pierced through the storm. A snap, like breaking the black screen in his mind, pulled the male lead's head up. Hey! The male lead snapped awake and looked up. A girl stood right at the doorway, backpack on her shoulder, eyes calm. Do you hear me? His heart skipped a beat. A thought popped into his head. A girl speaking nicely to me. This is the first time. She walked into the classroom. He confusedly stepped aside for her. There were a few students scattered in Class F. Blue hair sat sighing. His name was Bong Joon-ho. Another guy was busy playing on his phone Do Ye-jun. And the woman from before was named Lee Gaeun. The male lead sat down next to his chubby friend, lips curling into a giggle. Hey, don't stare at people like that. She paused for a moment, glancing over with a confused look. Why is he acting like that? The clock neared 9 a.m. Class F only had a few kids. The chubby guy thought, that's 5 of us, right? Then with a thud, heavy footsteps echoed in. The teacher walked straight to the podium, introduced himself coldly, then shouted, Nice to meet you, Class F losers. The whole class went silent. Meanwhile, the male lead was still busy admiring the girl, smiling to himself. The chubby guy nudged the male lead's elbow, whispering, Seijin, the teacher is here. The homeroom teacher wrote on the board, speaking in a monotone, quickly explaining the school system. Freshmen are placed in general classes, not separated by major from the start. Classes are divided from A to F based on skill level. Bong Joon-ho raised his hand, frowning. But teacher, just basing it on yesterday's test is unfair. Those studying entertainment, editing, or composition can't show their skills immediately. The teacher paused, then raised a finger. Rule number 1 of the entertainment industry. Show yourself off in any way possible. Bong Joon-ho furrowed his brow, muttering, Just stubbornness, how annoying. The male lead raised his hand to ask, Teacher, I danced, though. The teacher glanced down, eyelids heavy. You are still just an F. She tilted her head, thinking briefly. Did he do something wrong? Without introducing further, the teacher wrote on the board and said, Listen carefully to the first assignment. Someone's voice piped up. What so soon? In the next 2 weeks, freshmen will make videos, in groups, and post them on the first-year channel to compete for views. It's a group assignment. Each group must have exactly 5 people of the same rank. The class looked at each other as there were exactly 5 of them. The teacher added, Content and format can be anything, but your future may depend on the score of this assignment. Plus one specific condition for Class F. If you don't reach the top 30% of the entire competition, the whole class will be expelled. The atmosphere froze. Everyone's hearts sank. Scene shifts to the park under a clear blue sky. People were passing by, laughing and talking. A guy lay on the grass, covering his face with a notebook. A guy with a ponytail sat upright, muttering, "We are blending in perfectly with the Koreans." Looking from afar, a group of 4 huddled together in the middle of an empty lawn, making everyone suspicious. Ambo big as a rock, Hikari black hair icy cold, the only woman on the team. Hanzo acting as leader observed the surroundings, and one lay there pretending to read a class notebook yelling, "Ha!" Hanzo lowered his voice. "Report progress." Ambo shook his head. "No, nothing." Hikari replied, "No results." Hanzo turned sideways. "What about you, One?" One looked up, eyes squinting, replying, "Still seen nothing." Hanzo nodded slightly, deciding to disperse. "Maintain search protocol. Regroup for report in 1 week. For now, everyone search separately." One paused, voice deep. "We've been scouring for months with nothing. If it stays like this, let's split up and do our own parts." Hanzo glared at One as a warning, annoyed. A while later, when everyone had left, One leaned back on the grass, breathing in the blue sky, thinking about before. Night fell over the cathedral. In a small rented room, One was packing his bag when there was a knock. The Branch 1 captain entered, eyes sharp. "May I come in?" One blurted out, "Captain of Branch 1. They sat opposite each other under the yellow light. The Branch 1 captain spoke slowly. "Yes, when you used to be under my command. You know how much I care about Jin, right?" One nodded. "Yes, I know. The Branch 1. Captain closed her eyes, speaking coldly. "I don't trust anyone at Roskai." The woman leaned in, close hand on his shoulder, voice firm. "Except for my people, no one is trustworthy. Therefore, more than anyone, you must find Jin first and bring him back safely. Is that clear?" One froze, accepting the order in silence. In the park, he stood up, thinking. Team leader Hanzo is Director Harrow's loyal dog. Harrow might have secretly given Hanzo different orders. He's annoyed that Branch 1 is growing powerful. He might have even ordered the elimination of Senior Jin. He put on his sunglasses, inhaling deeply. "I must find Senior Jin first." The scene shifts to the school campus. Clear sunshine, everyone heading home. A loud voice called out from the back of the class, "Kang Sejin!" A moment later, he stood facing the teacher in the office. The teacher looked up, voice calm but stern. "It's nothing serious, but I'm saying this for your own good, so listen carefully. Trying new things is good, but focus on what you are naturally best at. That will be better for you." The male lead nodded slightly, surprised inside but smiling politely, leaving the school gate. He walked slowly in the afternoon sun, thinking. He's advising me because he thinks I'm the real Seijin. So what was the real Seijin good at? He frowned, touching his chin, trying to ransack his memories. Suddenly he stopped. Up ahead, 2 male students walked past, arms around each other. The chubby guy and Bae Youngjin were laughing comfortably. The male lead glanced after them, a short question popping up. Do they know each other? In the alley behind the building, the sound of relentless impacts on a pad rang out. The chubby guy was being beaten all over by Bae Youngjin. Now low kick. Bae Youngjin twisted his hips, sweeping a kick across the shins. Then he added, "Next." He grimaced, dropping his arms. "This is too boring." He held out his hand. A wooden stick was placed in his palm. He twirled the stick, squinting over with a snide smile. "Hey, soft tofu pig." The chubby guy flinched, heart racing as he saw the opponent raising the stick to aim. Bae Youngjin glared, raising the stick. "Did I tell you to come here? A loser like you showing up dirties the reputation of Korea's top art school." "Clear!" he roared, swinging the stick hard. But then it just tapped lightly on the chubby guy's head. The gang behind laughed mockingly. "Look at him scared pale." "Ha ha." One clicked his tongue, blaming him. "Because of you, people will look down on all of us." The chubby guy trembled, whispering, "I'm sorry." Bae Youngjin leaned in close, enunciating each word. "You know your place. Apologize to every student at Serum for daring to exist here. Go on, bastard." The chubby guy bowed his head. "I'm sorry." He smirked in contempt. "Sounds fake as hell." "If you apologize, do it properly, you pig." He dragged the stick, advancing toward the pale chubby guy. The bystanders burst into laughter, and Bae Youngjin smiled triumphantly. The chubby guy slowly knelt, sweat dripping from his temples. He put hands on his hips. "Now repeat after me." He threw his head back and yelled. The chubby guy swallowed hard, seeing that Bae Youngjin shouted, "Speak! My son Juho will quit school by tomorrow. Louder, do it properly." But right at that moment, a calm, deep voice echoed into the alley. "What are you guys doing?" The whole group looked back. The male lead stood at the head of the alley, eyes cold, staring straight without flinching. Bae Youngjin paused for a beat, face frowning briefly as he met his gaze, then smiled faintly and called out, "Hey, Sejin, hello." He helped the chubby guy up, smiling as if they were close. "What's wrong, Juho? Stand up, come on." "You're as heavy as a rock." He wrapped his arm around Juho, turning to brag to the male lead. "We went to middle school together, just joking around like when we were kids. Playing king and knight, right, Juho?" The chubby guy stiffened, murmuring, not daring to look straight. The male lead replied calmly, tone even. "Isn't it king and slave?" Bae Youngjin froze for a beat, then smirked. He turned his back, walking away with the gang. "We'll see you later." Walking a few steps, turned his head to call back, eyes narrowing meaningfully. Hey, so which one do you want to be? King or slave? The male lead stood still in the narrow alley. Sunset covered the steps. The male lead and Juho sat next to each other. The male lead tilted his head slightly to ask when. Juho forced a laugh. Voice small. I'm okay, Seijin. As long as it's just my problem, I can endure it. Don't worry. The male lead looked at the round face behind red glasses, smiling. Juho's eyes were tired. In his mind, a scene flashed by. He too used to be knocked down and bullied. Curling up, covering his head against heavy kicks, the male lead took a deep breath, then spoke with suppressed emotion. But keeping quiet like that? Juho bowed his head, voice dropping. I don't like fighting. Besides, they'll get bored eventually, so you don't need to worry. I don't want you to be stressed. Juho stood up, shouldering his bag, waving goodbye, leaving the awkward, messy-haired boy behind. And that night in the warm room, a steaming pot of soup sat in the middle of the table. The old man said to the male lead, I'm not sure if it suits your taste, but just try it. Put the cat down first. He held the spoon, taking a sip. His eyes froze as if remembering something, eyes lighting up after the first taste of soup. So good. What is this familiar flavor? The old man smiled, watching his reaction, then slid a brochure in front of him. The cover printed info for Sarum Arts High School dormitory. He spoke slowly while observing him. Our house isn't far from school, but for your health, I registered you for the dorms. He paused, repeating as if in disbelief. Dorms? His hand flipped through pages of tidy rooms. His eyes gradually brightened. This place is great. A moment later, the old man was washing dishes in the kitchen. Hearing the boy's excitement, he glanced back slightly. His face held danger and calculation. Next morning, the school bell rang under the blue sky. Lunchtime. The cafeteria buzzed with the sound of chopsticks. Lee Gayun sat eating calmly at the table opposite. The male lead picked up a piece of fried food. Austin thought he put it near his nose by mistake, seeing that Juho turned to remind him. Hey, Seijin, that's your nose, not your mouth. Bong Joon-ho got annoyed and said, Isn't expulsion too much? They recruited us just to kick us out. Do Ye-jun chimed in. Anyway, it's school rules, Bong Joon-ho continued. If it's a rule, they should have said so from the start. Right. Behind them, women's voices spoke. Hey, Lee Gain is in our class, haha. Her friend replied, Knew it, haha. The male lead quietly repeated, Lee Gain. Brown hair laughed faintly. Nice nickname too, huh? Like a defective version of Lee Gayong and Lee Gayun. She can't sing, can't dance. Only got in thanks to her celebrity sister. So she got placed in Class F. The group burst out laughing. Bong Joon-ho turned, pushing the tray. Son Juho, eat more. It's a buffet here, eat freely. Juho let out a soft, oh. Then he happily went to refill his tray. He piled it high with sauced chicken, whistling as he headed back to the table. Meanwhile, Seijin was still gazing at the girl. Bong Joon-ho threw out a teasing remark. Hey, are you listening? Why did you even come to this school? Before Seijin could answer, a loud crash rang out. Juho fell in the middle of the aisle, food splattered everywhere. Laughter erupted. Bae Yongjin stood right there, giving a fake apologetic wave. Sorry about that, I didn't see you there. The cafeteria buzzed. Seijin jumped up and rushed over. Juho, are you okay? It seemed like a trauma response. Voices echoed in his head. Disgusting, he's fat as a pig. Doesn't he feel shame looking like that? Why is he even still here? Seijin clenched his fists, remembering those insults. It was just like him before. A voice cut through his thoughts. Which side are you on? He looked over and saw Bae Yongjin pouting, feigning innocence. Scene shifts to the hallway. The group supported Juho as they walked, asking softly. Bong Joon-ho asked, Juho, are you okay? Need the infirmary? Juho nodded, still trying to smile. I'm fine, don't worry. Then Seijin froze, clutching his stomach. He mumbled, I need to go to the infirmary, my stomach is acting up. He walked away quickly, his back looking heavy, shoes scuffing against the tiles. Bong Joon-ho thought to himself, that guy. He stopped by a nearby convenience store. Standing before the lit shelves, he rested his chin on his hand, considering. He stood before the fridge, compared 2 milk cartons and chose one. Thinking he'll probably like this, he left the store hugging the milk carton. Meanwhile, Bae Yongjin was bragging about what just happened. Seijin walked straight up to him. He held out the milk, staring silently without blinking, implying he was choosing his side. He stood opposite, holding out the milk, lips curling into a faint smile. Yongjin's eyes sharpened. Then Bae Yongjin smirked and reached out. Our Seijin is pretty smart. He snatched the milk, holding it up like a trophy and shouted, I'll enjoy this, buddy. He turned and waved his gang to follow. Seijin stood still, watching them disappear down the hall. Time passed slowly in class. Bae Yongjin couldn't sit still. His leg bounced uncontrollably, sweat beading on his forehead. Both hands gripped the desk edge. A few classmates glanced over, whispering, Bae Yongjin, you okay? He shot up, speaking urgently. Teacher, may I go to the infirmary? He clutched his stomach and rushed out, face pale. Suppressing the thought, he dared not speak aloud. I absolutely can't tell them my gut is exploding. He leaned against the lockers in the hallway, gasping, face ghastly white, clutching his belly. Damn it! Did I eat something bad? A cramp surged up. He fell to his knees, groaning. Looking up, he saw Sejin standing right in front of him. Gang Sejin. Sejin offered a faint smile. Youngjin clutched his stomach. I don't know what's up, but whatever it is later. Sejin blocked his path, making him scream. What the hell are you doing, move? Sejin stood his ground, voice calm. You made me curious about something. Youngjin cursed loudly. Damn it, talk later! Sejin tilted his head, asking directly. What did Juho do wrong? Youngjin froze, grimacing. What, Juho? Sejin looked straight at him, enunciating clearly. What did he do wrong for you to go that far? No matter how you look at it. Juho isn't the type to cause trouble. Youngjin curled up, sweat pouring, teeth gritting. Ah, it hurts. I just hate seeing that pig act up, okay? Sejin nodded slightly. I see. Then I can also get rid of what's annoying me. Right. Youngjin paused. What? Sejin clenched his fist, lowered his stance, and stepped forward. Bam. In the blink of an eye, he punched Youngjin straight in the gut and pulled back. In Youngjin's mind, it felt like a dam cracked and burst. A flood rushed down to his stomach. The cramp exploded. He opened his mouth to scream, hunching over, breath hitching. Bae Youngjin collapsed to the floor, and a stream of hot yellow liquid poured out. It seemed like the pill made the poop a bit liquid, guys. But I like this method of revenge. Sejin stood over him, eyes cold and calm, watching it all. Youngjin looked up, face ashen, lips trembling. No way! You... Sejin just gave a slight smirk, his gaze cold and detached. Cut to earlier. In the infirmary, the nurse asked, Constipation medicine. Sejin nodded. Yes, I haven't been able to go for a week. Leaving the room, he used a dropper to put the medicine into, the milk, and resealed the carton. Back to the present in the hallway. Youngjin lay curled up, grinding his teeth. You bastard! You drugged it, didn't you? Then Sejin shouted loud enough for the whole school to hear. Bae Youngjin, even if it's urgent, you can't just crap. In the middle of the hallway? Ew, are you okay, Bae Youngjin? Youngjin trembled, grabbing his sleeve, face gray. Stop, please! Squelching sounds echoed down the hall. Students covered their mouths, groaning. Gross, I'm gonna puke! Amidst the chaos! Sejin leaned down, whispering coldly into Youngjin's ear. Now it's your turn. Quit school. A foul smell spread through the corridor. Students nearby pinched their noses and backed away. Someone raised a phone to take a picture. After class, the room was silent. A teacher stood at the podium. Bong Joon-ho pinched his nose, muttering, Where's this smell of shit coming from? Sejin sat resting his chin on his hand, the corner of his lips twitching up as if an idea struck. Thinking, even without a tuxedo or a fancy banquet hall, I've always wanted to try this once. A scene appeared in his mind like a gala. He wore a tuxedo, raising a glass to toast himself. Poisoning mission complete success. He smiled at Juho. I just want to fight without throwing a single punch. Heh. Juho widened his eyes, not understanding, just glancing at him. Afternoon sun dyed the schoolyard pink. Outside a snack shop near the gate, two of Bae Youngjin's friends sat at the convenience store, whispering and gossiping, laughing loudly, looking at photos of Bae Youngjin lying in his own filth. Haha, damn, it's still funny no matter how many times I watch it. But you know what? I heard someone blocked Bae Youngjin when he ran for the restroom. His friend asked, Who was it? He replied, I don't know, lots of people hate him anyway. Either way, looking at him is gross but funny as hell. The friend laughed. Haha, that bastard, today was insane. Suddenly a voice rang out. Is it that amusing, you dogs? A man looked up. Shadow covered half his face, veins popping on his forehead. Eyes cold, teeth clenched. Late at night. On an empty floor of a building, thudding sounds echoed repeatedly. Two guys clashed under dim yellow light. One was punched and sent flying, crashing hard onto the floor. Before he could recover, a hand snapped out. A large hand gripped his face, squeezing tight. A cracking sound popped. He choked. The attacker slammed the loser's head into the floor, speaking coldly. I give you one day to find the guy who did this to my brother. The two guys laughing at the convenience store earlier were now beaten to a pulp. The attacker was Do Beongjong, 18 years old, a second-year student, former national youth boxing team member. Scene shifts to the next morning. Clear blue sky. Sejin adjusted his bag. A thought crossed his mind. If it caused that much of a stir, the news must have reached the second years, the ones who remember the real Sejin, the class one. A sign appeared. Did Bae Youngjin show his face today? Sejin glanced at the empty seat and smirked slightly. As expected, he's absent. He laughed internally. If it were me, I wouldn't step out either, dying of embarrassment. The first Class F meeting began. The group sat around a table. The homeroom teacher wore sunglasses, leaning back in his chair as if he didn't care. Bong Joon-ho whispered, Hey, is he a real teacher? Gives work, then does nothing. The teacher sat up, voice monotone and mocking. Am I not here? Remember this too. If you don't make the top 30%, you will be expelled. The table went silent, faces pale. Bong Joon-ho broke the silence. Everyone come up with an idea. Lee Ga-eun raised her hand. How about a girl group dance cover? Girly stuff is hot right now, Do Ye-jun countered. I think a boy group cover fits better. We have 4 guys. Sejin rested his chin listening to the debate. Bong Joon-ho chimed in. Hey, dance covers are too basic. We need to play with visuals and storytelling. Yoo-ho suggested, how about an original class song? All eyes turned to the chubby guy. Sun Joo-ho, can you pull that off in 2 weeks? He hesitated, then nodded. I think it's possible. Bong Joon-ho added, and Lee Ga-eun, you said that, but a girl group doesn't fit since we have 4 guys, she explained. Why not? It grabs more attention. Do Ye-jun frowned. Makes sense, but a boy group dance is still safer. Yoo-ho reminded them softly. Everyone calm down. Sejin suddenly jumped up, eyes shining. Oh! He waved them over, voice excited. Come here, listen to this. The group huddled to whisper. A moment later, Bong Joon-ho widened his eyes and shouted, What? Lee Ga-eun leaned in. What is it? Behind them, Joo-ho chuckled while Do Ye-jun face-palmed. Sejin smiled. What's wrong? Isn't this idea awesome? Scene shifts to the past in a red-lit training room. Men in black holding knives trained in rhythm, bodies lunging and retreating as one. Sejin moved with agile steps. A blade sliced past his chest. He ducked low, eyes taut as bowstrings. In an old room, he sighed softly. The door creaked open. A nun poked her head in, then inserted a tape to play a movie. The screen flickered blue. Light reflected on the huddled faces, eyes glued to the screen. There the Blue Ranger charged in, mashing a horned monster in the face. A shout rang out. Get lost, villain! The monster fell back, mouth agape. Then the Yellow Ranger struck. One by one, the multicolored Rangers appeared. We will definitely wipe out all evil. In this world, the team posed in formation. Golden light filled the frame. On the TV, the Power Rangers logo flashed. The nun bent down, rubbing his head, voice gentle. How is it exciting, right? That is exactly what you children will do. His young heart pounded, eyes sparkling. Back in the classroom, Sejin held out his phone. On the screen was the Power Rangers logo. He grinned. Bong Joon-ho looked closely, nodded, and muttered. I see. You want us to do a parody. In the style of old-school heroes, the group looked at each other. The teacher in sunglasses sat behind them, glancing over, corner of his lip twitching. Then Bong Joon-ho continued, Oh, I suddenly feel dizzy. Immediately after, Lee Ga-eun shot up, face flushed red. She clenched her fists and shouted straight at Sejin. Hey gang, Sejin, are you here to joke around? Sejin looked, blank sweat on his temple. Huh. She didn't lower her voice. Do you think being expelled is a joke? To me. Bong Joon-ho tried to reassure her. Hey, it's not worth getting that angry. Do Ye-jun whispered. Bong Joon-ho, don't say anything. Lee Ga-eun took a deep breath, voice still hard, as she turned to the teacher. Teacher, I want to work alone. The teacher shook his head firmly at her request. Bong Joon-ho raised a hand to signal calm, then proposed a solution, drawing lots. As I said before, we'll go with the idea that has the highest probability of being picked, and once you're in, no one can back out. Folded squares of paper sat on the table. The group stood around staring. All 3 calculated the probability 1/5. Will we get it? Bong Joon-ho shook the pile. The atmosphere was tight. Sejin smiled and reached out to pick. Suddenly, Ga-eun lunged and slapped his hand away. You don't get to let me choose. She pulled up a chair and sat opposite. Taking a deep breath, her hand hovered over the lots. Sweat beaded on her temples, heart pounding. Suddenly, she snatched one and whipped it up, slamming it onto the table. The group leaned in, staring at the paper, holding their breath. The paper clearly read Power Rangers. Ga-eun froze, eyes wide, sweat dripping. Sejin burst out laughing. Yahoo! But the rest of the group looked at each other, faces blank. We're screwed. Night fell. In Germany, inside an apartment lit by yellow lamps, the leader of Branch 1 gripped a small vial tightly. Her hand trembled, face grimacing, moaning softly. The doorbell rang incessantly. She sighed, thinking, It's an hour late since then. Must leave the door open. She opened the door. Standing outside was a man in a black coat and round glasses, face cold, staring silently inside. On the balcony, the Branch 1 leader and the man in round glasses looked down at the night street. He asked softly, What if we send people straight in? She frowned. Ha! Harrow has been waiting for an opportunity like this to kick me out. I can't act carelessly. Her eyes glinted coldly. Of course, I won't let him roam free either. They leaned on the railing, observing the dark rooftops, unaware of a shadow hiding above, silently watching. She concluded, So, I'm just counting on one to bring Jin back as fast as possible. Scene shifts. In a room filled with computers and glowing blue screens, one typed furiously. He squinted. Strange, there's no trace. He stopped, arms crossed, calculating. Someone wiped the evidence clean, but what for? Put that aside for now. How did Senior Jin find the hideout of the traitor, Takahashi? He scanned the map on the screen. Then he told himself, first I must find Senior Jin, before the rest of the squad makes their move. Next morning, on a street lined with apartment complexes, Sejin walked beside Juho, who was wearing glasses. Sejin asked, "Let's go buy clothes together tomorrow." Juho nodded. "Yeah." He put a hand to his chest, heart racing. "First time shopping with a friend. I'm so excited. I feel like a couple in love, man." But in a dark corner near a shop, two other male students peeked out. One whispered, "Is that him?" The one holding a phone replied, "Yeah." Inside a noisy pizza place, a phone lit up on the wooden counter. Muscle-bound, Du Beongjong walked over and picked it up. His gaze sharpened as he saw Sejin's figure pass by on the street. He frowned slightly, thinking, "Gang Sejin." He froze memory, flashing back to a bloody night. A body slumped in a pool of blood. He gritted his teeth. "Impossible!" Back then I was sure. Time rewinds to about 9 months ago. In a dark, damp room, Du Beongjong sat huddled against the wall near the door. Heavy knocking echoed. A voice called out, "Du Beongjong, you're in there, right?" The guy outside muttered, "This idiot knows he's in there but won't answer." Then he spoke through the crack. "Anyway, I don't know how you did it, but good job. Gang Sejin has. Withdrawn from school and completely vanished." The guy in the room shot up, eyes wide. "What?" "Scene shifts tonight." Du Beongjong hood up stood hiding under the eaves, telling himself, "There's no way, gang. Sejin is still alive." What is he thinking? Impossible. It can't be. He leaned in to look through the lit window. His cold eyes saw the old man tightly hugging a cremation urn. He froze, pupils dilating, whispering in his mind, "That's the urn." Sweat poured down his temples. His lips trembled, thoughts spiraling. Right, Gang Sejin is dead. His dad went crazy and filed the withdrawal paperwork to cover it up. He gripped his stick tight, affirming it again. "I verified it myself. I even saw the urn with my own eyes. So what the hell is going on?"